It was one of those perfectly ordinary afternoons that can only happen in a place like a park. The sun shone through the leaves, dappling the ground in patches of light and shadow. Birds sang melodies that echoed among the trees, and the gentle breeze carried with it the sweet scent of blossoms. People strolled along the winding paths, their laughter and chatter adding a pleasant soundtrack to the scene. And it was here, amidst this tranquil beauty, that our story began. Sarah sat quietly on a park bench, a book resting in her lap. She was a vision in a flowing white sundress, her long dark hair cascading down her shoulders like a silken waterfall. Her eyes, deep pools of chocolate brown, were fixed on the book, but they held a faraway look, a sign that her thoughts had wandered far from the pages. Across the path, Nicholas strolled leisurely, his eyes scanning the people around him. He, too, was a picture of elegance in a tailored gray suit that accentuated his tall, lean frame. His dark hair, always impeccably styled, added to his undeniable charm. And those eyes of his, a captivating blue, seemed to hold a universe of stories within their depths. Then it happened. Nicholas lifted his gaze. His eyes met Sarah's across the expanse of the path, and time seemed to stop. The world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them in their own little bubble of awareness. It was one of those rare moments, a feeling that transcended the boundaries of space and time, a moment that whispered of destinies intertwined. For a few seconds, they just stared at each other, lost in the depths of each other's eyes. Then, as if drawn by an invisible force, Nicholas began to walk towards her. When he reached the bench where Sarah sat, there was a smile playing on his lips, a smile that promised 1,000 unspoken words. Sarah, too, was smiling now, her cheeks flushed with a delightful mix of shyness and anticipation. "Hi," Nicholas said, his voice a rich baritone that resonated with warmth. "May I sit here?" He gestured to the empty space beside her, his eyes never leaving hers for a moment. "Of course," Sarah replied, her voice as sweet and melodious as a songbird's. And as Nicholas settled onto the bench, the unspoken connection between them deepened. They sat there for a while, lost in their own little world, feeding the birds that gathered around them, their laughter echoing in the park. It was a beautiful moment, a perfect encapsulation of the burgeoning connection they shared. As the day wore on, they continued to meet in the park, walking beneath the blossoming trees, sharing sweet, tender moments that erased the boundaries between strangers. Time stood still in their presence, and the world around them ceased to exist. All that mattered was the growing bond between them, a bond that whispered of something eternal. They laughed as the wind playfully tousled their hair, creating a symphony of sound and motion. They paused under a soft drizzle, and when the rain intensified, they sought shelter under a nearby tree. It was there, amidst the falling rain, that their first dance unfolded, a spontaneous, joyous movement that spoke of the connection that had sparked between them. Each meeting, each shared moment, pulled them closer, making the initial hesitation seem like a distant memory. It was as if fate itself were guiding their steps, ensuring that their paths continued to intertwine. And so their story continued to unfold in the heart of that park, a place that had become the silent witness to their blossoming love. With each passing day, the feelings intensified, and the question of how and when they would confess became a melody that echoed in their hearts. And then one day, as they sat on that same bench where their story began, Nicholas took a deep breath and began to speak. The words tumbled out of him, a torrent of emotions given form. He told her of the connection he felt, of the inexplicable pull he'd experienced the moment their eyes met. Sarah listened, her eyes shining with unshed tears, her heart echoing the sentiments he expressed. When he finished, there was a pregnant silence, broken only by the chirping of birds. Then Sarah, with a smile that could light up the heavens, took his hand. "I feel it too," she whispered. And in that moment, the world around them burst into bloom. The sun seemed to shine brighter, the birds sang with renewed vigor, and the very air throbbed with the promise of forever. They sealed their promise with a kiss that spoke of a love story just begun. And as they stood there enveloped in each other's embrace, they knew that this was only the beginning, that their story, like the blossoming flowers around them, was destined to grow and flourish with each passing day.